How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Annabelle Creation. This is from 2017. It's the second Annabelle movie they made and the fourth overall Conjuring film. And I guess I have to say right off the bat, I really do love this Blu-ray box art. The idea that the Blu-ray itself gets to be Annabelle's case, that's pretty cool. Even though in this movie, they don't really have the case, they have a closet with Bible pages around it. That would have been a cool cover too, but the Annabelle case is iconic. I do like this box art. Anyway, this time around, we're directed by David F. Sandberg. You guys may know him as the director of Lights Out. Really cool. Also did the Shazam movies over at DC. This movie stars Anthony LaPaglia, Samara and Miranda Otto, and the original movie's director, Conjuring 1 director, James Wan, is once again back as a producer. Always good to see him watching over the franchise, even if he's not directing it. But I guess I should say, leading in as an introduction, Annabelle was like a breakout hit character from Conjuring 1. She wasn't in the movie too terribly long, primarily the prologue, but everybody knew that they wanted more of this character, so of course we got a spin-off. Now the first spin-off critically wasn't received very well, but I guess it made a bit of money because we got a second one. And to be clear, I'm someone who thinks the first Annabelle movie is decent. It's not as good as the Conjuring movies. You know, it's definitely not perfect, but I still think Annabelle 1 is pretty good. But that being said, Annabelle 2 is so much better. Annabelle 2 is easily the best of the three. Although that being said, 3 is cheesy haunted house fun. I like that movie, but in a different way. But Annabelle 2 is, out of all the spin-offs and stuff, the one that came the closest to James Wan's 2 Conjuring movies. If you guys have seen The Conjuring 1 and 2, but haven't really touched the spin-offs, at least give Annabelle Creation a watch. It is the closest that any of the spin-offs ever got to being the original, and it's pretty good. Got to love that James Wan gave the movie to Sandberg. Sandberg really knew what he was doing, and you can tell that someone competent was at the helm. It's pretty cool. Annabelle 2, easily a lot scarier than Annabelle 1. Annabelle 1 had some really fun sequences, like the basement sequences, but here, it's a lot more of them. They come a lot more consistently, and they are, you know, in general, pretty scary. And the lighting, the shot choice, and the cinematography is all really good in this movie. They can have a simple shot of the Annabelle doll sitting in a chair, and they know how to light her just right, where she looks really creepy. But it's also a cool concept. These orphans moving into a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere with sort of a creepy mystery behind it. It's a really intriguing setup, and you do want to know what happened there and what's going on with this Annabelle doll they unleashed. And I guess I should mention, this is one thing that had me worried going into it when I first saw this in theaters, is the first Annabelle, we saw the whole thing with Annabelle the cultist, and she drops the blood and it goes into the Annabelle doll, and that's how the Annabelle doll was possessed. But this is a prequel to the prequel. This happens beforehand, and I'm like, you already showed us Annabelle's origins. How can you make a movie where she's running around before that? Don't worry, they explain it. And actually, how they explain it at the end of the movie, I thought was a really clever bit of writing, and they don't break continuity. I really do like that. So, what I would say though, since it doesn't come up till the end, know that they do address how this connects to Annabelle 1, don't overanalyze it. Don't try to hyper think about it the first time you watch the movie. Just know that it does work. Don't worry about it. But anyway, as I said, this film is a lot better than the first Annabelle, and it's clearly the best of the spin-offs. I'm not gonna lie though, it does have some problems, but really not too bad. For example, you know, we have lots of really good horror sequences here, but sometimes it does feel a little bit sequency. Gotta throw in another scare sequence, let's have some fun concept and put it in, which it's good. They're good sequences, but sometimes it does feel a bit like, you know, they're doling them out a little bit too, you know, kind of putting them in to keep things interesting and moving and stuff. It works, it just, you know, it's hard to describe, but it does feel a little sequency at times. Plot structure, though, I do wish we were locked in with the main girl. We do bounce around to other characters sometimes, and I feel like it would have been a lot better if we stayed locked in the perspective of the main girl, you know, kept us in a child's shoes where everything is more scary and we gotta see more her heart and problems. Also, yeah, the other orphans don't really have much to do in this movie. You kind of forget they're there. And plus, you know, this movie isn't mean-spirited enough to start, you know, butchering orphans left and right. So, yeah, it's, the other orphans, yeah, I think, honestly, maybe what they should have done with this movie is just have these two girls get adopted, and then just have it just be them, because, you know, you really needed more time to develop the side characters that, yeah, they do get forgotten about sometimes. So, overall, though, it is pretty good. Like I said, though, a little sequency. You kind of forget about the side characters, and I wish we got just a little bit more. You know, The Conjuring 1 and 2 had so much heart behind them, and this has heart too, better than all the spin-offs. But I just feel if we were a little more locked in with our mains, that would have helped boost this movie up a little bit. Again, though, just some complaints. Overall, though, I really do like this. Let's take a moment and analyze the plot. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, but let's take a little bit of a closer look without going towards the end. This is Annabelle Creation, so it's actually fitting we open up with Annabelle's Creation. This movie has a really fun opening sequence where you see Annabelle being built and a lot of creepy doll pieces. Really, really like it. And we also get to see Annabelle as a limited edition, number 1 out of 100, which, boy, if the lady from the first Annabelle movie knew how rare the Annabelle doll was, she would be even more excited. But 1 out of 100, although what's about to happen makes me really question if they ever built the 99 more, because you see, we get a zoom out from the creation, and we get to meet the doll maker character, and he has a happy, prosperous life until his young daughter Annabelle gets run over by a car, and that's going to throw a wrench in things, to say the least. We cut to 12 years later, and we find that the big, mostly empty house is now going to be used as an orphanage. There's a nun and a busload of orphans that are being sent over there to live, and they don't really have, you know, they didn't have a place for all these orphans before, so it's like, hey, we're going out in the middle of nowhere, but you'll finally have a place to live. You really, really need this. And then we get our main two orphans, and they talk about how they're best friends, they want to stay together, and they want to be adopted together, because if they're adopted together, then they get to be real sisters. And yeah, like I said, a good bit of, you know, heart. I wish we had limited our perspective to just these two. But anyway, they get to the house, and it's a big, creepy house, and we actually get a really good long shot to introduce us to this house. but there are 2 rooms that they're not allowed to go in. One room is downstairs, and that's going to be where the doll maker's wife lives. She is injured and won't get out of bed, but that didn't happen in the prologue, so it's a bit of a mystery what happened to her that put her in this situation. Plus, she's in the shadows, locked in her own room. You don't really get to see her, so it's this creepy what's going on in their moment. That's pretty cool. But as far as the second room, that's what kicks off the plot. In the middle of the night, Annabelle's little notes lure one of the girls into the second off-limits room, which is Annabelle, the young child's old room, and that's where she opens the closet door and finds Annabelle had been sealed in there with a whole bunch of Bible pages covering the walls to keep the evil trapped. Well, you open that door once, and it's going to be hard to get her back in there. The doll will start to appear around the house, as well as ghostly visions of the young girl that got hit by the car at the beginning of the movie. I really do like this. Gives Annabelle yet another form, you know. You have in the third Annabelle movie really stressed this. You have the doll Annabelle, you have the young girl Annabelle, you have the cultist from the first Annabelle movie, and then you have the actual evil spirit, which is probably its only real form. And I do like that now we get this ghost version of her, which is really creepy to see her running around. And yeah, as the movie heats up, as they realize they've opened Pandora's box, this creepy house, I really do love this setting, and there's a lot to do in there, you know? You have a dumbwaiter, you have a big well, you have a barn with a scary scarecrow in it, lots of cool things that you can do. One of the girls has a leg brace on, and she has to use one of those little chairs to go up the stairs. Yeah, a physical limitation that can really put you in a bit of danger, especially if you can't stop the chair and the ghost is waiting for you up at the top. Like I said, really fun sequences. Sometimes it's really creepy just when Annabelle's sitting there, and then maybe she'll start to move, and then maybe it will get bigger, and then towards the ending, everything goes crazy. It does have a really big, fun, over-the-top ending, a good prolonged sequence where a lot of stuff just goes nuts in this house, and I really do like it. Like I said, much scarier, much more consistently, and just it looks really good and a really cool place. Overall, like I said, this is the best of the Conjuring spin-off films, almost as good as James Wan's films, and I really do like this. You know, Sandberg, actually like Wan himself, you know, Sandberg has been doing the DC Shazam movies, James Wan has been doing Fast and Furious 7 and then Aquaman, so these two directors kind of got caught up in these big films, which are, you know, doing, for the most part, pretty well, but man, whenever I hear of a horror movie coming from these two, like when James Wan came back to horror and did Malignant, that's what really got me excited, and I'm really looking forward to David F. Sandberg's next horror film. I really can't wait for it. Lights Out was pretty good. Annabelle Creation was really good, and I really do want to see more. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Conjuring playlist, where you can see my reviews for some of the movies. I have the 3 main entries reviewed in there, as well as the first Annabelle movie and The Nun, and I plan to finish it all off sometime soon. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Conjuring playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.